Welcome back to the next part of the video course. Today's topic is about sexuality, a gift from God. I'm glad that you are continuing on the course and like to encourage you to keep persevering. At the beginning of the Bible it says, God saw all that he had made and it was good. No, in fact he said, it is very good, everything, also your sexuality. It is a gift from God, and he made no mistake. But we often have the feeling that God does not look when a married couple are having sex, for example, and says, "Ooh, I can't look there. What on earth are they doing?" No, he doesn't do that. Surprisingly enough, it was God who invented sexuality. In spite of your experiences with the topic of sexuality, whether you have misused it or not, nothing changes the fact that sexuality is most beautiful and wonderful. It is either a raging torrent or a great clean and beautiful flowing river which has great power. Sexuality encompasses joy, life and power. Sexuality needs to have boundaries, just like a rushing torrent or river. These do not hinder our pleasure, but give us greater freedom and security. Many rivers have bushes, rocks, flowers, and meadows bordering them. God's borders are creative and beautiful, but clear and firm. What happens when there is a flood? The unrestrained water destroys the surrounding landscape when it breaks the boundaries and the water comes and becomes dirty and dangerous. Perhaps you know the Bible story of David and Bathsheba. King David broke down these barriers and had an affair that ruined the lives of several people around him. The water went over the boundaries and brought destruction. The same applies to sexuality. When it has proper, clear boundaries, it is a blessing. But when it is misused, it messes up your and my life. Sexuality brings life. I don't only mean that a child is born, but a marriage is enriched. Pornography does the opposite and brings death, especially in relationship with others. The person becomes a commodity and has no value. During the time that I was stuck in pornography, I felt lifeless. There really was not much life there. It was a lonely world of sexuality with myself. I am now able to lead a happy life, free from pornography, have been able to discover and experience sexuality completely apart from pornography. You too can experience real life and a new life again. That reminds me of an anecdote. I was invited to speak about my life to a group of roughly 200 students. My 1-year-old son crawled happily around in front of the podium. Whilst I was talking on the subject of sexuality, I saw him crawling around in front of me, picked him up and spontaneously showed this little life to the students. He's really one of those sweet-looking little boys. As I lifted him up, you could have heard a pin drop. Looking at the little life, we were all stuck dumb, I included. How wonderful life could be. Pornography does not produce children, it just ruins relationships. And here was this handsome little boy, full of life. Yes, sexuality is beautiful. And that moment, many of the people in the auditorium, including myself, must have cried inwardly. It took a few moments before I could actually carry on with my speech. I'm so glad that I have rediscovered what sexuality actually is. For many years I had forgotten what sexuality really is. Pornography is sexuality, completely cut off from serious or deeper relationships. It took me years to learn what sexuality actually is. I just did not understand what true sexuality meant. Eventually I learned that the one had nothing to do with the other. In your relationship, do not take a third person to bed. For example, pornography. We do not need pornography. It is not a basic need. We do not need virtual instruction for sexuality. Where is the space to discover things ourselves if we have seen everything and yet know nothing of sexuality? It is a pity that we find it hard to cope with our own sexuality. Moreover, it is difficult for one to find peace in his or her sexuality. Are you reconciled with your own sexuality? Look at yourself in the mirror, naked, and see where you stand and whether you have peace with your sexuality and your own story looking into the mirror. It is important to see where you are sensitive and where you get hurt. You have to allow healing to come where it hurts and where you are wounded. I look forward to seeing you at the next video session. Welcome back again. Have a nice day.